Hello everybody, welcome to OCHD and welcome to another Jumputi Heroes video. Today we are talking about our yearly One Piece feature festival, not taking place at the time we would normally expect it to. I have said in the past I did think it would be advantageous for the devs to try and hold this event sometime other than One Piece Day, so that you don't have to compete with One Piece Treasure Cruise to try and earn money off of One Piece fans. For some reason, they did take that idea and run with it, and they hosted this event at the same time as the One Piece Treasure Cruise anniversary celebration. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like the best idea ever. Now, what I will say is this event focuses on East Blue, which does give you a little bit of differentiation. You know, if it had just been yet another Wano feature festival, I think they might have seen quite a difficult time trying to make money off of this event, simply because One Piece Treasure Cruise is doing a huge Wano event right now for their anniversary. But in this case, East Blue, I think it's a bit refreshing. Takes us back a little bit, you know. Something we haven't covered in a while. And plus, this is, while we did kind of get Kimetsu no Yaiba going backwards in terms of the chronology of the story, it's not something we've seen as much. Typically speaking, the feature festivals kind of go forward in order. And when we kind of reach like the end of the story, they kind of just stop. That's basically it. But Bleach has a feature festival coming up soon. I expect that will go backwards in the story, much as this one has. I don't know if it'll go back to the very beginning, or whether we'll be looking more at like Soul Society, or maybe finishing up on like Aizen and the Arrancar. I don't know. There's still plenty to do in Thousand Year Blood War, but I do think they will go backwards. I think that's a big part of why this event is earlier in the year than we thought. Bleach is earlier in the year than we thought. And as for content, this is a bit of a weird event. We normally associate One Piece with getting a better treatment than a lot of the other series. In this case, this is a very small event. But we'll talk about it anyway. We'll go through and talk about, because there are some good things. There are definitely some bonus upsides to this event. First things first, login bonus. Looking pretty good. 300 rubies in there. There's 30 of the summon tickets from this event. Now, sadly, the summon tickets are not restricted, Paul, so it basically has like every One Piece hero grade unit in there. But still, if you're new to the game, lots of One Piece units on there that are pretty good. And even if you're not new to the game, even if you have most of them already, there's a good chance you don't have Hiyori. You've still got Kuro and Arlong from this event on there. And there might be some other shit. I mean, it's still pretty good. You can get some dupes as well. And they are giving out a lot of these tickets in this event. So, pretty nice. And it does sort of follow the trend of the devs being a little bit more generous with rewards. Generally speaking. It's not necessarily a very consistent thing. But we have seen a slight increase this year. Like, if you go back to like the start of this year or like end of last year, they were so stingy. But now it's pretty good, I would say. And these tickets, as I mentioned, we do have 2 new heroes on there, but a bit misleading. A lot of the time when they put 2 new heroes, you know, you would show one of the old heroes so that we know the old heroes are on there. They have shown Usopp and Nami, but those 2 are 3-star, 4-star. We would expect those to be on there. But it does mean that if you pull on this ticket, you are guaranteed to get a One Piece unit no matter what. So, pretty cool, I guess. The reading time missions gives us even more of these tickets, 10 more of these tickets. As always, you just have to click on the mission and then click back. You do not have to go to the website. You do not have to read it. And you can get 10 tickets, which is pretty cool. And then we have the first of 2 sort of points events, but not really, because this is a points campaign, I guess. Because you get these points randomly just from farming stages, like any stage. I kind of wish they'd done something a bit more with this. Like, this was tied to a certain kind of event. This was tied to a certain kind of event. Like, power points, you may, if you could only get those from, like, difficult stages, like catastrophe class stages and stuff. But maybe you didn't need as many of them. So we don't have to sit there and constantly farm it. It's like maybe you only need to be like 3 or 4 and you get enough points for what you need. And then like fame points, like maybe one of these could be from like farming points events. One of these could be farming like a legend summon or whatever. Or, you know, there's a few different ways that you could do it, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. You just get these points. You just get all of them for just for just playing stages. Any stages, from what I can tell. Maybe there's a few restrictions like 1 staminas and stuff, but other than that, go nuts. And earning these points will get you rewards. Now, some of these rewards are just like emblems. It's like, who cares? But the important rewards are, well, there's a couple, I guess. You can get some tickets, which is nice. This ticket here, which we'll talk about in a second, very nice. And there's the emblems there. I don't know why this selection, it doesn't actually list what these are in game. But I just went on the One Piece bounty list and I looked on the wiki. Shout out to that wiki, by the way. The people maintaining that, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. The One Piece news hasn't even been out that long in Jumputi Heroes. They've already got a lot of the characters featured on there with their Jumputi Heroes, right? It's like, I was looking earlier for some news on Belmare. She's already there on the wiki. So, shout out to you guys. But, yes, they have the bounties for a lot of the characters. The Straw Hats specifically. And at first I was thinking they've just chosen the characters that joined before they got onto the Grand Line. But then Chopper's there. But I guess that's maybe the exception because it's a funny one. It's only 50 Betty. But they have Nami's first, Usopp's first, Zoro's first, Sanji's first, Luffy's second, weirdly, Zoro's second, and then Luffy's third. It is a weird set of bounties, I can't lie. I did like double, triple check. It's like, technically there's a couple of these where it's like the bounty was the exact same value as someone else, but it's someone completely irrelevant to this part of the story. So that's what these are. Why? Beats me. But if you want these emblems, sure. I feel like the only one anyone would want is the Chopper one because it's kind of silly. It looks all right. I don't know. But more importantly than those, there are some good rewards actually. There is this ticket, which is just down there in a second, and we have to talk about these Legend Summon books. They very, very rarely do something like this. Normally, when a new Legend Summon comes out, it's either one of two things. Either you obtain the Legend from Story Mode and you farm the books from Story Mode, or you obtain the Legend from an event and you farm the books from that same event. In this case, you obtain the Legend Summon from a special stage we'll be showing later, and the actual books you get from this store. So make sure you get these, because let me tell you something. The devs love to make it an absolute ball ache to get Legend Summon books after the Legend Summon goes away for the first time when they're implemented like this. If it was just a normal legendary quest, eventually it'd be added to the logbook. But most likely, these are going to be added to, like, the PvP store or something like that. Like, they're going to make these an arse to get. Or they might add it to the voyage log, but in, like, the points section or something. Either way, you want to do it this time, 100%. And then they also have... They've become quite fond of these. I personally despise them. But they have become quite fond of these, the developers. It's a special thing where if you earn a certain amount of points, in this case the 3 points displayed up here, by earning these points, if you're like one of the top, I think it's the top 3 for each one, you get a special emblem, right? Now, I don't care about the emblems that much. Generally speaking, I don't care about emblems. But it's the fact that they think, we can get people to farm this stage even more. And so people are going crazy farming these stages. It's like, how have you got that much stamina? Are you using your stamina tankards? Are you spending money on stamina tankards to get into like the top 3? Why? What? You gain nothing from it. The extra points, arguably, yes, you could spend in the store. But it's like, all that's going to be left in the store at the end, I think, is just coins. Like, there's not much value there. And the stamina would be much better spent on the coin stage if coins is what you wanted. So I can't see why they do these events, but seemingly they seem to have a reason to do it. They like it, or they feel like certain players like it, or somehow they're benefiting from it, profiting from it. I don't know. But this is some stupid bullshit. And whenever you see an emblem that looks like this, because they all look pretty damn similar, just know you're probably not going to be getting your hands on it. And that's okay. That is just okay. Now, the ticket that I said we'd talk about, this is really, really nice. I haven't listed the whole pool here because it is actually quite big and they didn't actually list it in the news for some reason. But I did have a look earlier and I can tell you there are some event characters on there. There are some hero grade characters on it, but there are also limiteds in here. Now, I was very fortunate. I was missing exactly 2 limiteds from this pool. I was missing Trafalgar Law, who you can see on the banner there, and Snake Man Luffy, who you cannot see on the banner. But, so I was able, you get 2 of these tickets. So I was able to just grab the 2 I wanted. Job done. But yes, you can actually get another selection of limits. You might be missing a few different ones. I don't know. I don't know who, but you might be missing like Gear 2 Luffy or whatever. So this is great. This is really, really good. I highly recommend grabbing the 2 tickets because why wouldn't you? And just grab them. If you have all of them, you can try and pick one for skill levels. If you somehow have all of them max, just pick whoever and sell them, and you can use the medals later. Or I guess you could save them for their level 15 update. I don't think there's that much point, but you could. Luffy already has his level 15 update, Gear 4 Luffy, Bound Man Luffy. So if you wanted to feed dupes into him, try and get him up to level 15, you could, I suppose. But luckily I didn't have to make that decision. I just picked 2 brand new limiteds, which I will happily take, even if I probably won't use them that much. For completion purposes and collection purposes, it's very nice. Then we have the daily stage. This is where you get the other tickets. So 2 of these tickets, they might give out another one later, I don't know, but 2 of these definitely confirmed. And this stage, really nice. You clear that prologue stage once to get that ticket, and then after that you clear the daily stage each day. You get 50 rubies, 2 stamina tankers, and 1 guaranteed 5-star ticket. Very good. Like I said, the rewards have been a lot better recently, and we're seeing a lot more of these daily stages to get 50 rubies a day. When you add that to your daily missions that get 50 rubies every day, that's 100 rubies a day guaranteed, which is really nice. Plus like the login bonuses and missions and all that good stuff. Like, yes, very, very good. Then we have this stage, which you clear it 3 times a day. It gives character EXP, character skill EXP, and rank EXP. You also get this Onigiri item, which I didn't actually check on the actual game. It says it only gives EXP, but I meant to check if it gives skill EXP as well, because sometimes they say it only gives EXP and then it also gives skill EXP, and it's kind of like, it is a far more valuable item if it gives skill EXP. If it doesn't give skill XP, it's essentially worthless. Not like technically you can use it to level up your character, sure, but it's like books are so easily, readily available now. There's just not much point. Like, there's not much value to it. It's just going to be a cool item to keep in your inventory as a collectible, I guess. Now, you have to clear this stage 3 times a day. You don't have to, obviously, but you can clear it 3 times a day total. And there is a reward for this, which I haven't shuffled around the news post yet. It's much further down because I didn't know it was tied to this event, but I had a feeling. Basically, there is a Jolly Roger of Zoro. We already had one, but they made a new one for some reason. It's like the East Blue Zoro Jolly Roger. And you get that by clearing this stage 39 times. Now, I haven't done the exact math, but I've missed the first day, so I might actually be missing out on that emblem. I'm not exactly broken up about it because I just don't care about emblems. But something to bear in mind, it might be unobtainable if you haven't beat the first few days of this stage. It sort of depends. I haven't really done the maths yet, but 39 times is a lot, even if you're doing 3 times a day. So you know, it is what it is. I'm just gonna check if this item does give skill EXP, because useful information for myself at least. Where is the Onigiri? There it is. So it does indeed give skill EXP, so that is a very good item to have. And I don't know how much it gives. It's a little bit difficult for me to tell from this screen because I've only got like level 5 characters and stuff. Yes, it does give skill XP. So something to bear in mind. We're getting one of those a day. I think you're going to get like 13 or something in total. So pretty good. Pretty good. Then the actual points event. This gives us rubies and more tickets, and also those ever so satisfying hidden potential items that I'm so happy I don't have to farm for. Some of them I just do have to farm for them. You farm in this stage, but it's easier to farm this stage than the other one, in my opinion, because you're going to have to be farming this stage anyway for this event. And those stages, well, they also just not on. They're just not on right now. So something to always bear in mind, the crystals, if you ever see one of these in the store, you grab that no matter what. That's got to be one of your highest priorities because they don't give out that many of them. So make sure you always grab those when you see those in the store. Obviously, other items are important. Rubies are a must-have as well. Jewels are a must-have as well. But heroic crystals, just it might, in the back of your mind, appear as something sort of superfluous. It's not. It's important. And the wonder... what are they called? Wonder slabs. That's it. The wonder slabs also great to get because whenever you do the hidden potential system, if you do all of the panels on one page except for the final one, and then you use a wonder slab on the final one, you actually save half the amount of those, like the red, green, and blue slabs, the ones that are like for each room. You save half of those on each room by doing wonder slab on the final panel. So definitely worth doing. That's what I've been doing anyway. For the love of God, don't do that thing where it's like do all of them at once. If you click that then click wonder slab, it's just gonna use all of them and it's so not worth it. It is so not worth it. You can like use the normal items to do all of the other panels, but then on the last one use the wonder slab. And yes, the other hidden potential items are there, not shown on this screen, but they are there in the store. And there is going to be a restock on the 26th of May, right by the end of... Is it really by the... It's sort of by the end of the event. And that will add more hidden potential items. And potentially some other stuff, I don't know. But they've definitely said more hidden potential items. So, very cool. Make sure to grab what you can. And we also get Nojiko. Very nice addition to the game. A bit of a weird one. Like if you're a One Piece fan and you're like keeping up to date with the manga, this feels like so long ago. And it was so long ago. And she really is like a proper side character, which does bring up some other questions which we may talk about later. But she is here and you can get her to 99 luck, and I mean it's nice. It's nice, I don't know. Then we have the first of a few. They've been trying some stuff out here. We call them challenge stages because they used to back in the day have challenge stages, like the Saint Seiya stage for Hades is classified as a challenge stage, but they kind of stopped using that terminology. They stopped using those types of stages. And now this is like a new thing. It's not a catastrophe class event. Some of them have catastrophe class stages, but they normally have multiple stages. They give sort of luxury rewards. They don't necessarily give anything like characters or anything like that. Some of them do, some of them don't. But they're just sort of changing the format on how challenging stages work. And so this is, you know, we list them as a challenging event. I did it earlier and it is not challenging. It is very, very much not challenging. The hardest stage is ultimate class, and then the story stage is like you literally just skip it, like you don't even have to challenge it. So this is not too bad. It's worth grabbing the rewards, certainly. And then this one is going to be a little bit harder, right? Wrong. Only goes up to ultimate class again. So this is probably going to be almost equal in difficulty, and they're giving out a lot of these tickets. You didn't get any for this event, but for this one you get another 10 of those tickets, and obviously you get the Usopp emblem, which again I'm not I'm not really interested in, but sure, it's there. Then the Don Krieg stage, or is it the Gin stage? Or is it the Baratier stage? Or is it... I don't know. But this stage has a catastrophe class stage. Again, 10 of those tickets up for grabs, and you can also get the Sanji emblem. But you can get Gin from this event, and that's from farming the ultimate class stage. So they're sort of changing how you obtain characters a little bit, because it used to be like a super class stage, a transcendent class stage, an ultimate class stage, catastrophe class stage, and you could basically get the character from any of them. But normally the catastrophe class stage had some other challenging element, so you wouldn't really farm that. They would give like an emblem or a costume or whatever. In this case, Gin is only available from the ultimate class stage. There is a story class stage, which I guess you'll just skip as before. And then the catastrophe class stage also gives tickets and an emblem. So it's weird. And Gin's inclusion, again, odd. I don't hate it, but it's odd. And then we have the Arlong Park stage. Similar to this stage, we have a farmable Bellmare. We have a catastrophe class stage, which gives an emblem and 10 tickets. You've got a story stage. It's basically the exact same format. A Bellmare's inclusion, again, bit of a weird one, but I really don't hate it. I'm a big fan of Bellmare. I am very happy she's been added to the game. And it definitely is better than another this, another that, version 64 Luffy, whatever. It's something different. I do like it. But again, weird. Definitely weird. And then this stage, which is like the Logue Town stage, I think this has, it has 2 ultimate class stages, so no catastrophe again. Probably going to be relatively easy, and you can get some tickets and you can get some other rewards and some other good stuff. Then this is the stage that is a little bit confusing. It is sort of a legendary quest, but not really. Normally legendary quests you'd let you farm the books. You can't farm the books. As I mentioned before, the books are available from the points event, the points campaign thing mentioned earlier. But this event, it does have a stage you can clear, which is a story stage, which is basically, again, it's just skip and you've done it, and you get the legend summon. But it also has what they called a legendary challenge stage. Now, I could be completely off base here. I don't think they've ever used that terminology to describe a stage. So I don't know if this is going to be like really hard, or if this is another one of those ones where they say like legendary whatever, but it's like a, like they came up with names for certain events. I think one of the Hunter x Hunter events had like a Black Troop stage, and it was supposed to be like the Phantom Troop, the Spiders, whatever they're called, and it was supposed to be like not actually hard on a catastrophe class event. But in this case, I don't know, legendary challenge sounds kind of tough, maybe, I'm not sure. It gives rubies as well, so it'll be interesting. They did say they were playing around with the idea of like harder content, but I don't necessarily know. Like they said that's coming later, and then they said even more stuff coming even more later. So I'm not too sure. I mean, in terms of like the challenging endgame content, right now we're waiting on Saga's Super Genkai battle, which I think we're all assuming will come for the Saint Seiya / Hikaru no Go / whatever New World event, which is coming after the next event, after My Hero. But then from that point onwards, the question is like, how are they handling the new endgame content, the more difficult stuff? I am interested. They did say sort of there's going to be something next month. Don't know what that's going to be. And then from that point on, they're going to try and rework the way they look at events and rework difficulty, which, I mean, it looks like they're trying to do already. But potentially some very difficult content coming up in the future. We're seeing a lot of units with like double resistances and like just a wall of text for a passive and stuff. So I don't know how you balance that in PvE, but we will find out soon enough. Then we have Unity Battle Don Krieg. Now, something I've sort of flicked past and haven't really talked about too much is the enemy-only units in this event. They have gone enemy-only Don Krieg. He is not obtainable. The sprite looks very good, but no, you can't obtain Don Krieg. Am I bothered about it? I mean, I guess not really, but I mean, the sprite looks good enough where it's like It feels like you could have just given him like some crappy animations and people probably would have been happy to have the extra unit in the event. We also had back here Hachi. Now, I would argue that they probably made this sprite with the intent to make another Hachi in the future that's actually playable, that is from like the Shabondi Archipelago, because that's when he's much more relevant in the story. So that makes sense, I guess. Again, sprite looks very good for an enemy only, but it is what it is. And then the last one, which I think a lot of people were a little bit confused by, and I mean, myself included, Nami. There is an East Blue Nami, and the sprite looks very good. And, you know, Nami has a new standard gacha. Well, I say new. When did she come out? Like a while ago, right? Was it this New Year or was it last New Year? Oh, my memory's letting me down. But no, it was last year. It was last year she came out, I'm fairly certain. So that means she's been about for a minute. And like, yeah, I guess we could have had a new standing gacha Nami or a new event Nami, or not limited, probably not for East Blue Nami, but you know, it's weird that she wasn't added, right? It seems weird, because I mean, I can understand making a sprite for Don Krieg with no intention of ever animating it, but this Nami, I would argue that doesn't make sense. I would argue you probably should have animated that, and there is definitely a chance that this event went through some tomfoolery before it came out, some shuffling around. One of the signs we've seen of that is that on the Game 8 page and on the Jumputi blog page, they got the types of the characters wrong in the like icon previews of them. So the fact that it's wrong on both of them, and as far as we are aware, the Game 8 blog is given the items to make this news ahead of time directly from the devs. I don't know whether they're part of the dev team or whether they're just a group of independents who are like sponsored by the devs or being given stuff by the devs, but they definitely have some kind of direct dialogue with the developers, because they have stuff that is not in the files. They have, you know, well, these badges are incorrect, and are incorrect in the exact same way that they are incorrect on the dev blog, but they are different images, I should say. So it's peculiar. One of the interesting things I found out was they got the badge for Minato based on the way the IDs are laid out. They got the badge for that after they got the badges for this event. So they might have had the badges for this event for a while, and they have time ahead of time to prepare their posts or whatever. But the Minato one came after, whereas for us, the data download showed Minato way before this One Piece event. So it's interesting. Things have definitely been moved around a little bit. As for whether this Nami will show up at some point, who can say? I'd like to think so. I think it'd be a cool addition. But as for Don Krieg, as for Hachi, Don Krieg I can't see happening, to be honest. But Hachi, sure. Maybe not this one, but definitely Hachi at some point. Anyway, weirdness. Don't forget to do the Unity battle. I think it said on there it goes up to 1 million points, or not 1 million, 10 million, 100 million? 100 million. I think the last one went up to 300 million, and most people wanted to die after that. But the justification was you got a gold jewel. It's worth 27 jewels, so kind of worth it. Arguably, definitely kind of worth it. In this case, you will get like a set of jewels at 100 million. I feel like 100 million. How many points do you get per run? It's like 7.2 million. It's asking a lot less, right? It definitely is. If I've done the maths correctly, which I probably haven't, it's asking significantly less than 300 million was just too much. I took the gold jewel and I appreciate it. I can't remember if I used it yet, but you know, it is what it is. Then we have Super Dimensional Battle Mihawk. I don't know why they felt the need to advertise this, because I know it is One Piece related, but it's not even a ranking. It's just a normal Super Dimensional Battle, so go nuts. We have a One Piece Tower boost. Now, as people have pointed out, Don Krieg is on this banner. You physically cannot use him in Tower, and you cannot battle against him in Tower and yet he is featured on this banner. So this may lend credence to the idea that some of the other units were intended to be added as playable in this event, and for some reason that none of us know, they are not available. But Tower Boost is back. I think the last Tower Boost was Anniversary? Before that even? I don't even know when the last one was. They just kind of stopped doing them for a little while. They've come back with one, but they still kind of say they don't want to do them, last I heard. Like, they're trying to find ways to make Tower more fair, and I don't think this is an example of fair. If you see people using Zoro and Sanji in Tower, bear in mind they're not boosted yet, but I've seen people using them in Tower, and there is some cool gimmicks you can use to make them do loads of damage, and it's really cool. But they are sort of hard countered by Night Guy, which people who play PvP will know that guy's a problem. He is you know what? Not even just in PvP, across the entire game, he is a bit of a problem. If you go, there are certain stages you'll go into, and even though he does not have type advantage, he'll be one of the most recommended characters for that stage. There are some stages where they're actually recommending, like when I go through, I was like, oh, can I beat this stage? Can I beat that stage? What are the recommended teams? They're all red, even if it's like a yellow stage. They're all red. But he doesn't have type advantage. Surely it makes more sense for me to bring a green team. No, it's literally more optimal for you to use a red team. And we've sort of had a similar thing with like yellow teams and Kisuke. Not quite the same thing, but for other reasons. But certainly, Might Guy has sort of brewed up a storm. So if you want to run Zoro and Sanji and try and go up against Might Guy, you go for it. I can't guarantee you're going to have much joy, but I'm a noob. I'm an amateur at PvP. I know nothing. I just run the same team every week, and I press auto and I see what happens. But for those of you that are trying really hard, I would be interested to see how people actually do with these two up against Guy. Maybe there's ways you can like organize the team where they don't have to face each other, but I don't know if that's the case. But anyway, enjoy your One Piece Tower Boost regardless. Enjoy your Don Krieg you can't use. Then we have the East Blue Max Lux Special Reward Campaign. This is basically the same as it has been the last few events. You get some rubies, some jewel shards, some doors, the tickets, which we very much like, the coins, which we very much like, but also they're giving out books this time as well. I didn't bother putting it on there because who cares? It's literally like, I think it's like the rainbow books. They give a bunch of EXP. No one cares, but they are on there as well. We've had a roster update for Hidden Potential. Zoro and Sanji, version 1 of each, both have their Hidden Potential awakened. They are still not very good. I think Zoro got self-buffing on his ultimate attack. And I think Sanji got burn on his ultimate attack. And I think they both got some additional bonus on their passive that was pretty nice to have. But ultimately, they are what they are. Like these year 1 units, the standard gacha ones anyway, it's like it's difficult to buff them enough to make them relevant enough without making them like too relevant. Like when they buff Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the limited one, the first version, when he got his buff through the Hidden Potential system and the level 15 buff, he was very strong, very, very strong. And I mean, at this point in time, whenever you look at like certain stages, when they're looking for a heavy hitter, it's quite often that Goku, if it's a stage you need yellow units for, or that Naruto, if it's a stage you need green units for, or whatever. So the question remains how the second batch of limited buffs will look, but until then, we're in an interesting scenario with these buffs, because a lot of them, the standard gacha ones don't really feel like they're worth doing, which means you pretty much got free reign to do the limited ones, because you're going to have the materials at some point, and they seem really strong, so I don't know. But definitely good for like if you want to strengthen up your entire crew, your entire score for Unity Battle. I guess having these units, not for Unity Battle, for Super Dimensional Battle, I guess there's a value in having these units all fully Hidden Potential awoken. I haven't done it, but You can give it a go. Then we have the East Blue Limited Gacha. It introduces Zoro and Sanji as a dual unit. I did think we might get Zoro and Sanji at some point, but it never occurred to me that it might be an East Blue version. I don't hate it. I think the sprite looks really, really cool. But it's surprising for some reason. I guess I thought it would be Wano or something like that. Maybe they're plotting for standalone limiteds for these two from Wano. I mean, we just got a standalone Sanji red poster from Wano, like the blue leg Sanji in OPTC. And I think we're also getting Enma Zoro in OPTC. So those two being limited in like a Wano event or like whatever, at some point standalone limiteds makes sense. So I guess going back to the start to make them a dual limited, sure, why not? Now, as for Arlong and Kuro being standard gacha units, One Piece gets this weird pass where most other events, if there's a bad guy, they don't get a chance to be standard gacha, they don't get a chance to be limited. There are rare cases where that does, you know, that it sort of bucks the trend. Like, for example, Aizen has a standard gacha and a limited. And there are certain other series where, you know, units have gotten a pass. But like, if you look at Dragon Ball, which it feels like there should be like a limited Frieza, and there's not. And there's not a limited Boo, and there's not a limited Cell, and none of them are standard gacha either. And even like, I don't know, there are plenty of other examples of series where it feels like the bad guy could have been a standard gacha, could have been a limited, and they weren't. But One Piece, they had like a whole event where they added bad guys as like standard gacha. We got like limited Kaido, and in version 2 limited Kaido, which to me is like really weird, but sure, okay, I guess. In this case, I would say for me, Arlong is a very cool addition. I have no problem with him being standard gacha if we're talking about this part of the story. Sure, absolutely. Kuro, no, not for me. I think he should have been an event unit. I think there wasn't really many characters you could promote in terms of like yeah, sure, I guess he's less obscure than the event characters, but like it's not really, I don't know, there's no appeal to him as a standard gacha for me personally. I probably would have just, even Hachi would have been more appealing. But obviously, like I said, you'd probably want to do the Shabondi Archipelago version of Hachi, which I mean, I don't know if they're going to do that at some point. Maybe. I think we'll have to... We're going to have loads of One Piece events in the future. Like, we'll have to wait and see, but realistically, they'll come at some point. But Arlong, very cool. I think so. And Zoro and Sanji, very cool. It's just Kuro, to me, is a bit of an outlier. Sprites look good. Animations, as far as I've seen, look pretty good. No complaints from me. Arlong in particular, I think his sprite looks very good. I don't know why, just when I look at him compared to Kuro, it's just like, I guess Arlong's design just had more going on to begin with. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And yeah, those two, obviously, very, very nice. Birthday Gacha. Let's talk about this. The Birthday Gacha, we have 3 more. Is it 3 more or 4 more? 3 more, I think, during this this part of the month, or towards the end of this month, leading into next month. We have Toriko on the 25th. We have Osamu on the 25th as well. We have Aizen on the 29th. If you missed out on any of these and you want to take your opportunity to go for them, then by all means. If you're wondering about Zoro and Sanji, if you're going to be able to pick those up cheaply from a birthday gacha at some point, Zoro's birthday is not till November, and there's no real guarantee that this will be featured due to the fact that this limited came out this year. But even if it is featured, it'll be featured alongside Zoro Juro, so it's like a 50-50. It might not be worth it to you. Sanji's birthday is, I believe, in March, so you're going to have to wait a while. But they will be featured on a birthday banner at some point. You'll be able to get them a little bit cheap, obviously. Not everybody wants to go 10 multis. You'll be able to go, what is it, 8 multis on the birthday banner. It's not bad. So yeah, pretty cool. Toriko is obviously, I mean, all of these units are a little bit older. I guess Aizen only came out last year. These two only came out last year. Toriko came out the year before, I think. Toriko is still very strong though. He still gets a lot of use out of me, so not bad. Obviously, all of these have a free multi as well, so definitely do the free multi. Beyond that, it's up to you. You saw me all go for Hibari last time, but in terms of birthday gacha, I mean, I don't really necessarily know who else I would go for. I guess we'll see. And this was the Zoro emblem I mentioned before. This is the one we currently have in game, and this is the one they have added during this event. You have to beat the stage 39 times. So I think I'm going to be missing out on that one, but oh well. Normally these things get re-added again at some point. And normally when they do, I don't buy them anyway, so it's irrelevant. But if you do want it, hopefully you've been beating the stage every day. Then we have this. Now, people have been saying, what is this counting down to? Well, let me tell you, nothing. It's counting down to nothing. They did this in the past. The true limited, you see the gold meaning true. I think they did this during the Hibari High Q, the High Q event. They did this during the High Q event. And this banner, and this banner, and this banner, and this banner, what they look like countdown banners, they are counting down to nothing. I think they are just filler to try and get people to spend money during this event. There is some funkiness with the end of this event because we do know that Endeavor and I believe it was Senku are both supposed to get level 15 buffs, and that wasn't in this data download, but it's supposed to be happening this month. But obviously the next event doesn't start until the start of next month, so it's like, were they just lying? Is it going to come literally in like the last few moments of this event when like the data download happens, whenever that's going to be? I don't know, but I have a feeling there's not going to be any more bamboozles this month. I think anything that's going to bamboozle us is going to be happening in the coming month, because I think they've dropped Minato now, and so that's that. Pull for Minato, pull for Zoro Sanji, it's up to you. But these banners, very, very nice. 7 multis to get a guaranteed limited grade unit. First multi is free, which we always like. And obviously there's a bunch of really good units on here. Now, for example, if you did want Osamu and Yuma, the dual unit, then obviously this banner is better because even though you have to do 8 multis, yes, this still has 1 free multi. The other one also has 1 free multi. This one is better because you're guaranteed to get them on the 8th multi. But on this banner, 7th multi is 1 of the 4. You're not guaranteed to get that one. There's no choice ticket either. So there is a question of if you want to get them, but you'd be perfectly fine getting any of the other 3, is this banner better? In that case, yes, it is better. Because these 4 units are all very good. In particular, I mean, Kumagao is very strong. But yeah, they're all very good units. So if you're happy getting any of the 4, then yes, this is just so much better. Everyone gets a free multi, so don't forget to do these whenever this comes out. Don't know when it's going to be. And luckily for me, there's no temptation to go all the way because I have at least 1 unit on every banner. So we're safe. If I was any banners where there was 4 and I didn't have any of them, it would be very tempting because these are all very good units. And yeah, I've actually got all of them on the red banner, which is very rare. But I actually do have all 4, which I'm pretty happy about. So that banner is going to be pulling for nothing, really. Interestingly, this banner has 3 level 15 heroes. Suna is not yet, but the other 3 are. This banner also has 3 level 15 heroes. This banner only has 2. And this banner has 3, technically. You can't see her, but Jolene is there. Where is she? Nobody knows, but she is there. But yes, this red banner is very tasty. I'll tell you what, all these banners are just really good. So that's all I'm going to say. All these banners are just really good. But it's tough. That's version 2 boa, right? I get confused between the 2 sprites. I'm pretty sure that's version 2 boa. It must be. Why would they feature version 1 boa? Yeah, so very cool. Anyway, this banner, I've seen a lot of interest about this banner. And I mean, to be fair, it does have its merit. 1 multi costs 1,000 rubies. gives you a guaranteed 2018 or 2019 limit. Second multi, 1,000 rubies, gives you a guaranteed 2020 or 2021 limited. And then third multi, 1,000 rubies, total of 3,000 to get 3 limiteds. And the third one will be guaranteed 2022 or 2023 limit. Now, obviously, this could go wrong. You could spend 3,000 rubies, get dupe. But the temptation, 2023 limited, I'm assuming that at least goes up to like just before the anniversary, maybe. I don't know. Some good stuff in there. There's some good stuff in there. Your odds again, I mean, you might get 2022, you know, I don't know, but you could get some good stuff too. A lot of people would see this as a great opportunity. I'm leaning slightly towards this being a waste of 3,000 rubies, but if you're new to the game, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. But if like the odds are very much in favor of you getting a dupe on every multi, which I think a lot of like players who have been playing for the last year or so, that would be the case, because they give out a lot of limits. So yeah, I think it's tough. I personally don't think I'm gonna go for it, but if you haven't got that many limiteds, go nuts. That's what I say. Go nuts. Let's talk sales packs. This part is the worst part because I get to talk about all the awful sales packs. East Blue Pack. Don't buy it. You get a ticket that gives you either Arlong or Kuro, but it costs 6,400 yen. Even with how weak the yen is, that's just not worth it. Then this pack, even less worth it. As I've said in the past, if you see the word chance in the name of a sale pack, any sale pack, if it has the word chance in it, you can officially confirm it is not worth buying. I give it my stamp of disapproval. If it has the word chance in it, you don't even need to ask, because 10% chance to get one of these two. I'm going to spend 650 yen to have a 10% chance. Bro, even if you throw limiteds in there, that's not worth it. Not cool. This pack, now they've sort of like added on to the like gratitude packs for the 22 million downloads. I was kind of hoping that they'd reprint some of the earlier packs from this, and maybe they will, I don't know. But the one that's like 500 rubies for like 490 yen or whatever, that was really good. These two for me are just not worth it. They're very expensive, and it's like 2 random limiteds plus 18 other 5-star units. It's probably not really worth it, because that could be anybody. 3,000 rubies, sure. I mean, it's not the worst ever, because you get 3,000 rubies for 6,400 yen. But again, I always have that metric in my head that if the yen is higher than the rubies, that it's not worth it. And for me, this is not really worth it. Same here. You do get a choice ticket out of this, which is pretty good. And we don't know how many jewels you get. It could be 3, it could be 2, I don't know. But yeah, again, it's too expensive. This pack has the word chance. I don't even need to say it. The once a day sale pack. This is like always on pretty much. It's never worth it. The double 6-star pack again is not really worth it. They like to tempt you. They put Tien on there. They put what's his name? Akashi, is it on there? Bro, these are like new units, but this pool is realistically going to include so many characters. It's not worth it. They did the same thing here with Grimjo and Lev. It's not worth it, guys. Don't be fooled. And they've done the same thing here with Hiyori. And the reason they've done that is because she's so unbelievably popular in Tower, because she's very useful. But again, not worth it. So that's the end of this. I forgot to put the little donate button at the bottom. Oh my god, guys, if you want to donate, go and find another news post that has the donate button on it, and please do consider it, because I do sort of make this whole website off my own back, in my own time, with my own money. But that's not really the end, because there's one more thing I want to talk about. It's not really Jumputi Heroes related, and maybe I could have done my separate video on this, but I kind of didn't want to. I guess let's just kick it off. Some supposed leaks have come out about a new Shonen Jump based game, a fighter. I think the name people are saying that's leaked is called Ultimax, and I just wanted to, say, the amount of people I have seen look at objectively horrifically moronic leaks that are so unbelievably fake, and they've gone, wow, I can't wait for this looks awesome. Guys, please use your head. There's genuinely, this game could exist. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It is well within reason that they could be releasing a Jump Fire for the 55th anniversary, and I hope they do, because I would love that. And some of the leaks are like somewhat plausible, almost believable. Some of them, it's like they haven't put any like red flags in there. I could totally believe it. There was one that I saw a lot of people talking about on Twitter, and they were genuinely responding to it like, wow, this looks awesome. I can't believe they got this character and that character. It had so many characters on it, and like there were just so many red flags, and it's like, guys, maintain your expectations. Do you remember Jump Force? Do you remember when you had people coming out that were like trusted sources that were making like leaks that weren't even that outlandish, and they never got added? They said, I mean, I'm not naming any names, but you know, I saw leaks that said Suna was 100% being added. I saw leaks saying Medica was 100% being added, that there was going to be one more female protagonist being added to the game, and all this stuff. All these leaks came out, and they were from quote-unquote reputable sources, and that shit never saw the light of day. And Jump Force is now dead and buried. I don't think you can even buy it anymore. So maintain your expectations. One of the other things I want to point out, one of the big leaks shows like the logo, and it uses the font from the Weekly Shonen Jump, like the English version, the USA, the Western one. Why would they use that for an official release of a Jump game? It's obviously going to be done based on what's happening in Japan. If it's Jump, it's going to be done based on what's going on in Japan. Now, one of the logos, it's like, maybe it's believable, maybe it's wrong, I don't know. But in terms of the character roster, it's like, there's certain things that if you just see it, it's like, okay, this is just never happening. This is absolute, like, it had all these characters listed. It had Black Clover, it just had Asta. And it's like, I mean, I guess that's believable. At this point, I'd rather see Asta and Yuna, but sure. What, I mean, if the roster was kind of on the small side, you'd expect Black Clover, but maybe only Asta. Okay, fair enough. And then you got into Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got Yusei Fudo and Asta Phoenix. Like, what are you smoking? Like, have you ever played a Jump game? That's just not happening. That's just not happening. It's like, oh yeah, like they're gonna add Yusuke and Hiei and Kurama and Kuwabara and Toguro. And then Black Clover gets Asta. Okay. And I mean, that's only the tip of the iceberg for those leaks, because it's like some of these characters, it's just not happening. It's just never happening. So maintain your expectations. Temper your expectations. That's all I will say for anybody that has been looking around, has been seeing any leaks, is interested in this. The Jump 55th anniversary is coming up next month, and there will be some announcements for it. I know One Piece is doing a huge push for, I mean, at this point we might as well just say it, Gear 5 Luffy. There's going to be like a global campaign relating to Gear 5 Luffy. It's going to be like one of the big breakouts for One Piece to try and get attention on the series globally. He's going to be appearing in the anime. I'm sure One Piece Treasure Cruise and all affiliated One Piece games are going to do something. I'm almost certain Jumputi is going to do something. Like, it's going to be on billboards. It's going to be everywhere. You're going to see merchandise. You're going to see statues, whatever. Everything. And I think when that happens, that's going to be very close to One Piece Day. I think it's going to be very close to the Jump 55th anniversary. It's going to be close to a lot of stuff. It's not next month. It's like end of next month, start of the month after. I don't know the exact day because the date on Wikipedia is wrong. I don't know what day they base it on. If I remember correctly, it's like mid-July is the official date. All the campaigns and stuff are going to start earlier. I think One Piece Day is after that. But anyway, One Piece is going to be going nuts. And I have no doubt that Jump as a whole is going to be promoting a lot more stuff. We might get some anime announcements, or we might get some new series announcements. you know, clothing campaigns, stuff like that. And it's not outrageous to believe that they would announce a game. And if it is, like, I think the 3D fighter, it doesn't need to happen. I saw some people say this is a 3D fighter, some people say this is 2D fighter, some people say basically it's just ripped from the Naruto engine. It's like, guys, of course you would say it's just ripped from the Naruto engine, the Naruto Ninja Storm engine, because that's what people want to see. But if we're being real, I think a 2D fighter would make a lot more sense, because it's like, if you're pulling stuff from the manga, you don't have to think as much about how sprites look and from certain angles and stuff if it's all 2D. It'll save a lot of time on development. Whether people are necessarily going to be as pumped about that as something like when Jump Force was officially announced, I don't know. But let me tell you, when the sprites for Jump Force came out, well, not the sprites necessarily, but the models, some of them look creepy as shit. Some of them look cool in the realistic style. Some of them look awful. Like, they didn't translate well. It's the same thing Fortnite had. It's like, the Naruto ones looked really good, but when Goku first came out, he looked funky. Like, some things, it's like you have to spend a lot more time trying to make them transition properly. And it's like, is it worth it? I don't know. Because Jump Force, like, it sold units, but it didn't have that longevity. I think it just kind of, I don't know. It had so much content to pull from, and maybe like it takes too long to make new units. Maybe the interest just wasn't there. Maybe the game itself was fundamentally flawed. I'm not one to comment on like the mechanics of fighting games, because I suck at all of them, and I don't play them enough to know. But I do know that I had loads of connectivity issues when I played the game, and I had loads of bugs when I was playing story mode, and it did kind of pull me out of the zone. And you know, I'm not one to really be concerned about bugs normally. I played that Pokemon game, that was full of bugs. I played that with no trouble. I just got on with it. It didn't even bother me at all. It didn't even faze me. In one of the fights, I was like, oh, the music sounds kind of funny. It's like it didn't even occur to me. It was just broken. I just got on with it. I fully enjoyed that game, but I didn't with Jump Force. If the game is not fun and it's not polished and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, yeah, that's not good enough. And so I'm hoping they go for something a little bit more simple, and maybe, yeah, pulling like the Naruto Ninja Storm engine and working with that would make sense, because it's like a lot of the work's already done for them, and they've just got to add the models and add the worlds and whatever. But as for from the perspective of what I would like to see, I really think a 2D or like 2.5D fighting game would be very cool. Or, you know, like, if it is 3D, again, like, steal something from one of the other games like Ninja Storm. Like, don't try and do your own thing, and don't try and make it super ultra realistic, because that's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Make it jump worlds. I don't want to be fighting in New York. I don't care. Nobody cares. The fight at the Golden Gate Bridge, nobody cares. They want to fight in the worlds that are in Jump, and supposedly the leaks say that is the case, if they are to be believed, which from my perspective, I am basically not believing anything I see until the game is in front of me. Until I see an official trailer from Bandai or from whoever is making the game on their website, on YouTube, whatever, and it's like, I can actually see the mechanics happening on the screen, and it's not just like a screenshot, a blurry screenshot, whatever. I am choosing to believe that they are working on something because I want to see it and I want to believe. But I am also choosing to believe that everything we've seen so far in terms of leaks is fake. It's not real. It's just made up. Because anybody can just sort of make these things up. And even the trusted sources sometimes either troll people or get things wrong or are misled by the people that are their original sources. These things happen. But I've waffled on for long enough. I think it's time to end this video. If you have got this far and you know you are interested in this potential Jump game that could be coming out, who would you like to see in that game? Like, obviously, you know, the usual suspects, the Gokus and the Luffys, but what's like one rogue shout, one dark horse you would like to see? Let me know in the comments, and please do like, and if you haven't, subscribe as well. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you all next time.